Hey guys, Pretzelman945 here. Welcome back to another video. Come back to this series that we've had going on for a few months where I rank One Piece characters in various different ways. Um, this particular tier list idea, as well as the next several, that you're gonna see um from me are ideas that I got from people I'm in a Discord server with. Um, so shout out to them for these ideas. And this first one that we're gonna be doing is how well off would they be in the real world? So, this is going to be very broad, although we will kind of discuss specific circumstances regarding this. And I'm going to say that devil fruit powers are not allowed because yeah, because um I think if uh we did this with devil fruits, then there are way too many devil fruits in One Piece that would cause mass destruction to the world and yeah, we're just not gonna go there. Uh all right. Okay. Well, I should explain the tiers first. At the very top we have living the best life, very comfortable. Let's change this to lifestyle. Um, solid, getting by, struggling, probably poverty, and prison sentence. And I don't know if any other characters are going to go in there, but if nothing else, then Absalom is designed. Then the prison sentence tier was designed for Absalom because um I don't need to explain why Absalom would be given a prison sentence. And also, um, this is including like legal and illegal actions, I should say. So like, for someone like Capone Beji, even though we're not to him yet, um, well, since I mentioned it, I might as well go ahead and rank him. Um, like I think, for example, even though he's a mafia gangster, I think he probably has a very comfortable lifestyle. So that's the kind of thing we're gonna be basing this off of. Now we're gonna go back in the order of the tier list here. It's um, you don't really know what he would do, but I'm feeling like a solid. Um, and I mean, probably the same thing with Alvita, to be honest. An exact placement, I'm not exactly sure. Um, hmm, I mean, if we're considering this without the double fruits, then that would mean fat Alvita. Um, I feel like without her devil fruit, she actually would be kind of struggling. Um, Aokiji, Aokiji's pretty lazy because of the whole concept of like the lazy justice and whatnot. Um, but he's also pretty smart. I would say solid for him. Scratchman Apu could probably have some kind of business going on. I'd say very comfortable lifestyle for him. Arlong, hmm. It's not like I can exactly say it would be canceled because I don't really have that here. I thought about putting it in here, but it doesn't really make sense if he's like IRL necessarily. If he happened to be like, um, if he happened to maybe, I mean, he is a fish man, so he could find work potentially as like, something related to swimming, like Coast Guard or something. But the only thing with that is the fact that, yeah, I don't, hmm. Well, I think Arlong has to be prison sentence because of the fact that I feel like he would probably try and I feel like he would probably get arrested for not exactly hate speech because it's a free country with the United States, but like I don't know. I feel like he would do something insane like um try and attack um like trying to attack humans or like do violence or something like that, or would maybe like assault a police officer or something like that. I think he would get arrested for. Uh, Buggy would be a top tier content creator live streamer. He would be absolutely living the best life. Um, I think Whitebeard would be solid life because he probably has a family of his own. Um, and he's very strong and muscular. I'm sure he could get like work at construction or something like that. Bartolomeo, I feel like Bartolomeo is the kind of definition of a guy that doesn't really have a set path in life, but he's perfectly fine with that. Like he kind of like works odd jobs and like part-time positions to make sure that he um can live paycheck to paycheck and also like have enough to pay for like a neat interest that he enjoys. Uh, so I think that he's getting by, but I wouldn't exactly say that he would have a solid lifestyle, but like, yeah. Um, wow. I kind of have no idea on Ben Beckman. Um, uh, hmm. I feel like he would be getting by. For some of these that I have no other idea on, it's just gonna be a total vibe pick. Um, I don't think Bellamy would be in as extreme of a situation as someone like Arlong, but I could see him struggling because of like extreme political views, or being very outspoken on something, or just kind of generally a rude person to where it's kind of hard for him to find a job. Um, I think Bellemere would have a solid life because He could very easily be a working woman, maybe even like a farmer of some type, because she'd had the tangerine trees and such, and be able to raise kids. Um, Beppo, I don't know why, but like I feel like he would find a way to get by thinking of some really creative business venture that like even if it doesn't pay the most money, it would like um uh it would like be able to sustain him. Big Mom is a prison sentence for two main reasons. First off, we have the issue of one, um, he is a gigantic, like, human being who is capable of mass wanton destruction. And there will probably be a large amount of damage caused both directly and indirectly as a result of her actions. Number two, who would definitely be a food thief, like a ridiculous food thief. Um, okay. Bruno, I think he probably has a solid life because, like, he's a CP0 agent, so that kind of, and this will probably be the same for, like, every other CP agent, and probably a bunch of the Marines as well. I didn't even think about that without Kiji potentially, but, like, um, I think that there's a very good chance that Bruno and the other CP agents and also like potentially other Marines could find good careers in like the military, maybe even Secret Service or something. Um Blackbeard, I don't really know like what kind of business he would do or like what he would be doing. But I kind of have a feeling that he would come up with some extremely big brain idea that, like, even if it's kind of exploiting people, it would kind of be like Gus in Breaking Bad, where, like, he is able to live a very comfortable lifestyle and be subtle about it to cover it up. Um, I think Bonnie could maybe be like a professional eater, potentially. I would say that's getting by because I don't really know how much money that makes. Um, with Dorian Broggy here, I am really struggling to see how, like, what they would do at all. Like, I don't even know if they would be able to find any, like, solid work, to be honest. I kind of feel like they would struggle a bit. Um, oh my gosh, I always Douglas Bullet, that's his name. I know I've forgotten that in previous versions of this video, so I apologize now if that has happened in a previous video because I think it has. Okay, but speaking of Douglas Bullet, I think he's another contender for prison sentence. Mostly because he is capable of insane wanton destruction. And yeah. Douglas Burgess, very comfortable lifestyle. He would be an extremely successful athlete. Um, Cavendish. Okay. So for the purposes of this list, I'm going to avoid the Hakuba side. I know that that makes it interesting to talk about in some aspects, but I think for this list, considering we are talking about real world things, and Hakuba is essentially like a power, like a devil fruit, I'm just gonna include it. Um, and that being said, he definitely has a very successful career as like a model or or a beautician or something like that. Let's see. Um, this random. I don't know. We're probably off. Oh man. I think it was Veggie's wife. I don't really know what she would do, but I think solid. Don Chinzhou, I think is probably in a similar position to Bellamy, where he just, would say a lot of shit that burns too many bridges. Uh, Chopper. Chopper, I think, would be like the world's most famous doctor. Um, like but unlike a lot of famous doctor type personalities, he would actually be like a good doctor, not get any controversies or scams with products. He would have like really solid and reputable medicines that he recommends, and like products that he creates, as also just like very well known for being a fantastic doctor. Um, Cracker would have a comfortable life at a bakery. I'm convinced of that. Um, Crocodile could probably run a business. I have no idea. Well, actually, he could run a casino. I think he would actually be a very successful casino owner. Focus is also a doctor, but I don't think he would be nearly as successful as Chopper. But like, I think that would still be a solid life there. Das Bones could get something, could get some kind of job, I think, that has something to do with like, even though he doesn't have his dice as devil fruit, I feel like he would still be really, really good at like cooking, or maybe cutting things, maybe being a lumberjack. I think that is a solid one. Doflamingo is in prison sentence. I have no need to explain that because he has a whole fucking list of war crimes that he's committed. Um, Dragon would be very successful because he would be the kind of stuffy upper office executive that gets by without having to do fucking anything, as he just sits at his desk doing nothing. Um, let's see. uh, I don't know why. I feel like X Drake would be kind of struggling. That's more of a vibes thing. Enel is in a prison sentence for sure. Foxy. Um, I gotta be honest. I think Foxy is like one of those examples of like a amateur sport person. Like, he either does like boxing or some other sport, and he sees like some initial success, but then he like had a bad injury fell off hard, but still thinks he's in his prime, but isn't able to do any of that. So I think he would kind of be struggling. I think Fujitora would be getting by. I think that he would either be some kind of like swordsmanship instructor, maybe like a martial arts instructor in general, or could just be like blind swordsman novelty thing. I think he would find something to do. Um, as we discussed before, the CP0 agents, um, Garp. I mean, Garp could definitely be like a fighting coach or something. I'd say a solid lifestyle for that. Genzo would be like the mayor of somewhere, which is probably a solid lifestyle, at least. Hajrun has got a good brain on his shoulders. I feel like he could come up with something. Boa would definitely be like, a ridiculous. Actually, I think Boa would be up here because I think Boa would be like the world's most successful model. Um, and have like a ton of connections to beauty products. And actually, I'm gonna move Jesus Burgess up here too for the athletics part of it. Um, oh, Hawkins. Okay, so Hawkins would be um Hawkins would be like trying to scam people with really bad fortunes and it never gets him anywhere. I think he's probably poverty. Um Meppo, I think the same thing, probably solid kind of military type career. Higuma is a mountain bandit and he is a bum, so I think poverty for him. Hina, kind of the same thing. Iceberg, very similar to Genzo, would be a mayor governor type position. And actually, I'm gonna put him up here because I think more generally than that, I think he would just be a successful politician. Um, what what couldn't Ichi and his brothers do? Um, I mean, Drama 66 is like this military science thing, maybe? I, mm, yeah, I think it's okay to put him up there. IDEO, he would be a pretty damn good boxer, I think. Inazuma, I mean, he has scissors for arms. Probably opens up some kind of art supply shop. Ivankov would have like either Ivankov could be many things. Ivankov could be like the best tattoo artist ever. Ivankov could also be like a specialty surgeon. There's a lot of things Ivankov could do. Jabra, same thing. Diamond Jozu probably would be pretty damn good at athletics. So I'll put him up there actually. Judge would be like an extremely controversial scientist, but he would still make a boatload of money. So I think very comfortable for him. Um, Fido would be struggling because he's just a angry drunk. Uh, Haku, same thing, and same with Khalifa. Katakuri would definitely be able to open up some kind of donut shop or something, I think. Let's see. Killer? I mean, the name is not great. Um, and then there's also the aspect to consider of like, I don't really know what he would do. I feel like Killer would be kind of struggling. Um, King. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. Like, I think he would find a way to get by. Kizaru goes next to Alkivi for a lot of the same reasons. Koala could probably be like if I remember correctly, she handled a lot of the like weapons type stuff for the revolutionaries. I feel like she could be some kind of like private sector weapons contractor or something and make a lot of money that way. Um, Colby would be very good at um huh, I think he would be like one of the best versions of this military type occupation that I was talking about with a bunch of these characters. Um, Koza, I think, is honestly struggling a lot, like poverty. Because I think that he would just never be able to get himself in a really good position, and nor would he necessarily try to. I think he would be like one of those extremists that isn't able to really do anything or get anything done despite extreme views he might have. Don Krieg is a prison sentence. Kumadori, as weird as he would look in real life, would probably be the same thing. Kuma would be a solid life as a priest. We already saw this was for many years in the Sorbet Kingdom. Um, Kureha would be getting by, but it would be as like that quack doctor that's a bit sketchy. Um, uh, Kuro definitely has a prison sentence. Lafitte, I have no idea. I'll say he's getting by. Law would be another extremely successful doctor, and put him up there with Chopper. Yeah, yeah, I do actually. Because even though he might be less reputable, I think that like he would have a different kind of reputation for being like the more extreme option, I guess. Um, Leo, I feel like he could find hard work somewhere. Rob Lucci, on the same stuff. Lucky Roo would find some kind of like professional eating hobby potentially. I'll say he's getting by. Luffy, as much as I hate to say it, would probably be struggling because of the amount of food that he eats. He definitely has no concept of money, and I don't really see him being able to get a job. Um, Marco would be another top tier doctor, I think. Um, Makino would make a solid living as a bartender. Um, Mihawk. Mihawk would have like something related to swordsmanship. I think that's probably a solid lifestyle, though I don't really know what it would be. Among Us getting by for sure. Echo Moria's in prison. Um, as much as I hate to say this, I think Bon Clay would get prison for something like identity theft or fraud or something. Um, Nami would be extremely good with maps, very successful. Nojiko would probably be like Bellemere with like the whole farming angle, so I could see that being a solid lifestyle. Hachan would be a good chef. He would own his own solid reputable business. Um okay, Orange is wanton destruction. A pacifista is a robot, so I guess why not? Orlumbus? I don't know. He'll find something, I'm sure. Um, Holly would definitely be good with construction work. Pell would be good as a security guard. I think Perona is struggling. Um, Rayleigh would definitely find some kind of solid business that keeps him afloat. Um, now we'll put each of these siblings next to each other. Um, fucking keep reading. Cabo. Hmm, what would Sabo do realistically? Because he can't really be in government. Um, well, some of these are a lot harder than I thought. I feel like Sabo would find some way of getting by. Akainu is very much the same as the other admirals. Uh, Sanji would be a very successful cook. Sengoku is probably the same position as the other admirals. Hmm. Why is it harder than I thought? Like James, for example. I don't really know what Hanks could do, but like, these two would totally open their own business and just be vibing. Shiryu definitely has a prison sentence. Smoothie, yeah, I guess Smoothie could be getting by. Spandam is definitely a prison sentence. Um, Stussy would be some kind of government spy or something, or something government related. I think that's a solid one right there. Probably the same thing with Suru. Um, Arouge. Um, hmm, Rouge. I don't know, but Well, actually, he's pretty darn strong, so I think he could do something with athletics, probably. Usopp would own some kind of like shooting range and help teach people about it. Same thing with Van Augur. Vista would have some kind of like swordsmanship academy type thing. Uh, Wapol would, just like in One Piece, be accidentally a very successful businessman. Yasop would be struggling because he just doesn't really give a shit about anything. Uh, put you next to you. Zeph would be a fantastic chef. Zoro would probably have good success with like bodybuilding and stuff like that. Caesar is in prison for illegal experiments, and Caribou's in prison as well, but I don't really know what for. Um, Corazon, I don't know what he would be doing, but I feel like he's probably getting by. Dellinger, he doesn't really have much to do even on Dofi's crew. I think he's struggling. Diamante is an egotistical idiot who would have a very hard time landing a job at a lot of points. With the way that he speaks about himself and the massive ass ego he has, that's struggling. Um, Fisher Tiger, I'm gonna say getting by, but I don't really know what he would be doing. Um, s- oh, it's Hannibal. I mean, if it's anything like One Piece, the story in an Impel Down, then like there'd probably be some kind of prison position or something. Kinemon would very clearly own a quite a successful clothing store. I don't know who that is. Magellan would be hardcore struggling because of his constant stomach issues. Um, Pedro, um, hmm, hmm. I'm thinking like solid, I guess. Not really sure on that one. Alright, we only got a few characters left here. Treble is definitely in prison for something. So is Virgo because of the betrayal aspect. And, yep, that's all the characters I feel like ranking today. This is a fun tier list idea. If you have any tier list tier list video ideas, I can't talk tonight, that you would like me to try out, then let me know down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.